All right, welcome to GEG, New Jersey. Hello, everyone. I am Tina, and Ted is here. Ted, how do you say your last name?
It
Ted.
depends on the day. I say it's Samaras, but as long as the direct deposit keeps hitting, I'm kind of good with anything. So, you know.
So Ted is here, and then we have our guest spotlight speaker tonight, Meredith Thomas. She comes to
Hey
us
everyone.
from Holmdel, New Jersey. So, how are you, everyone?
Doing great. Doing great, getting through
So,
the school year.
yeah, I know. We were just talking about that before we went live. It's tough, but we're getting through it.
Yeah,
Get through it.
and Kim Meredith hasn't had to shovel yet. She's all the way down, Atlantic City way over there. So down for her, it's just been one rainstorm after another, while the rest of us are digging out. So
That's
it's
right.
been
Hey,
one of
don't
those.
be jealous. Don't
Hey,
be jealous.
it is what it is, right?
It is what
It's
it
all
is.
right.
Hi, Kara. Kara's here too.
I made it. Barely. I'm ready to go to bed. Is it time for bed?
Almost.
I'm
Almost
exhausted.
there.
I'm like trying to keep my eyes open here. I'm going to hold them open for the end.
Everybody's commenting how much snow they got. Jamie's clapping. I guess Jamie, she's clapping because she probably didn't get a lot of snow, right?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
okay here. I'm like right outside of Trenton, so we got probably 10 inches on the first storm and maybe 4 or 5 the other day, Sunday.
Yep.
Sunday.
I'm not far from you, Kara.
Oh, okay.
Same here.
Yep. And
If it makes you
we'll
feel
see what
any,
happens with the rest of the week.
yeah, if it makes you feel any better, you northern people, like southern New Jersey is supposed to get some snow. I think
Ooh.
Thursday into Friday. So we're
So
not
you'll know exactly how we feel.
exactly. It's awful. Jamie's saying she loves the snow, so I don't
There
know.
you go.
I'm a snow person. I'm not a winter person either.
Mm.
But anyway, let's get to what we came here for tonight, right? So, Meredith, why don't you introduce yourself to everyone? Tell us a little bit about you, what you're teaching, where you teach, and you know the subject or the topic tonight.
All right. Well, I'm Meredith Thomas. I was a music teacher for 19 years. And for the past 8 years or so, I've been a gifted and talented specialist. I teach in Holmdel. And this year I just started teaching STEAM. So when I learned that I was getting that assignment, I learned everything I could over the summer, became Google certified 1 and 2, and really just tried to take it all in. And then the other thing is, obviously, we were all thrown into that remote setting in the spring last year. And I saw that as, I mean, every cloud has its silver lining, so I really tried to embrace that silver lining and try to find ways to be really creative with technology. And that's when I discovered chatbots. And that is what we're going to talk about tonight. I'm going to share my screen. And a chatbot is basically a way for a web visitor to interact with the customer. So, for example, here, this is the free website where I started making the chatbots. It's phoebe.io. And down in the bottom right-hand corner, you see this little circle. Sometimes you see those little circles on, banking websites or customer service for wherever it is that you visit. But this here is an example of a chatbot. And I use them in teaching. So, for example, this is a lesson I did with my students. It's a digital amazing escape room. And when the kids go to my Google site where I've embedded the digital amazing escape room, if they need help, they need a hint when they're getting through this, you can see the timer's already going, and they're stuck on one of the puzzles, they can come down here and they can see my chatbot is down here. So I ask them, which puzzle are you stuck on? And then they pick the puzzle that they're stuck on, and it will generate a hint for the students. There's all kinds of really great ways that we can use it. So Phoebe works with Google Forms. So if we start a Google form, so forms.new, you can title it whatever you want. I usually call mine chatbot or something like that. And then you can ask the questions. So the one that I generated for tonight, if you remember click here, what's a chatbot? I created the chatbot that most of you had a chance to see. I used just a regular web link, which you could actually put in your Google Classroom or embed it in a document, wherever you want to put it. You had the options here. How can I help you today? And then you had your questions. What's a chatbot? How can I use chatbots to help my students? And how can chatbots improve my teaching? Well, on the back end of that, I created those questions. How can I help you today? And then I generated the questions. Each time the user interacts with this question is now done. So I repeated it on the Google form here so that I would ask the same questions 3 times. Okay. Then what you do is you go to the settings and you make sure that you do not check collect email addresses. And you, some organizations make it so it's limited to just your school. You want to make sure that that's not checked off either. So it becomes a public form. And then you click on send and you grab the link, which you can copy here. Then you go to phoebe.io and you click your link right here. Control V paste and then create my bot. And it will generate a chatbot for you. That's how easy it is to create this. When you land here, you can generate what the responses are. So for the first one, how can I help you today? You'll see the multiple choice answers are here. So if I go back to my Google form, you could see, how can I help you today? And then the choices were, what's a chatbot? How can I use chatbots to help my students? How can chatbots improve my teaching? If I go into the Phoebe website where I'm setting up my chatbot, you see here are those multiple choices. So those multiple choices, when I go in there, I can now customize the bot response. So that's how I did that. So I can just say a chatbot is an automatic response on a website. And then I can simply
put the answers in the Phoebe website.
Yeah.
Actually, the responses in there. You don't do that in the Google form.
Correct.
Okay.
Right. But you don't just have to use multiple choice questions. You know, you could do, if I started a new Google form, we could try, we could do a fake one here. Like I can ask you, what's your name? And then it changes it to a short answer. If I wanted to add questions, I could do, you know, whatever you want the questions to be. This type of random question you could put in.
How about this, Meredith? Can I get my bill lower? Because that's what I'm always typing into a chat bot, and I seem to get a robot that answers me back. So why don't we see how that works, actually?
Right. How can I lower my bill? Right. So you could add that. You know, we could do, and you could actually do branching too. Any of the options that you have on Google Forms. So if I want to say, go to section based on answer, and let's say this person selects, you know, no, then I'm going to, let's add a new section. Okay, and if this person selects no, I'm going to go to untitled section, and then maybe Why so pessimistic? I'm sure here we go.
Yep, you summed it up. Yep.
Something like that, right? And then you could make it a short answer. Something along those lines. But now let's make sure that everything is public, okay? And I'm going to save those settings. I'm going to share it, use my new link here, and then I'm going to actually go to phoebe.io. I'm going to enter the link here, Control V paste. Let's create my bot. And that's it. So now the bot response can be something like, nice to meet you. And then can I get my bill lower? If the answer is yes, you could even add a message afterwards. If you wanted to do that, you could say whatever the bot response is. Cool. Maybe. Okay. And then for no, this is going to be, can you tell us more? And then this would be the next section. So now when you finish this up, you add your email address, create your bot, and there it is. So there's a few different ways you could use it. It gives you a link here, so you can copy this and you can paste it right into a Google Doc. So if you're sharing something with your students and you want, if you get stuck, you could hyperlink this image, for example, or click here if you're giving a math assignment, or if you're giving a whatever the subject area is, you could hyperlink that text here and say, if you need help, click here, and then you can sort of anticipate what your students' questions are. The cool thing too is, by the way, when you're filling out these chat bots, when you're creating these new chat bots, the responses on the robot can be hyperlinks. So you can tell your students, copy this link and paste in your browser to review the lesson. And then you can use if you use some kind of a screencastify type of extension or some sort of video screencast, and you have a link that you've generated from that screencast, you can paste that link right in the bot response. So if you're going over, even for music teachers or art teachers, if you're going over how to do something or how to sing something or what it should sound like, and you need the sound bite there, or if you're teaching quadratic equation and you want to review, how that looks on paper, you can take a screencast of yourself doing that problem and then just put the link to the screencast in the bot response. So if you're anticipating your students' questions and you're thinking, okay, my kids might have questions about this, let me just put the review in there in case they need a hint. And then when you're...
The link is not live though, right? Like they have to copy the link and paste it into a tab. It's not a live link.
Correct. Not yet. I'll bet that's probably going to change. But yes, that's correct. They would have to copy it and paste it.
Okay.
So you could use a bit.ly link, or, if you wanted to shorten it, you could do that too. But the other thing is you can actually embed this. So the one on the left, chat pop-up, looks like this little purple one down here in the bottom right-hand corner. And you can make it, this is the default, what it will look like when you're chatting. So if I click this little chat bot, you see here's that little Phoebe face here. If I change that, I can pick some other picture of myself. I actually have a Phoebe face that I use with my students. So I can upload that, and there's my little Bitmoji image. So when the students, look, there I am down there, that's my little face. So it's a little more personal with the students. And then you can change the primary color, so you can really make this fun and make this more personal for you. You can change the chat header. If I don't want to call it chat, maybe I want to call it hints, something like that. And then you can select the button. Again, that too. I can change the color of the button. You can make it whatever you want it to look like. And then when it's done, this is the embed code. So you copy the embed code. And then if I go to Google Sites, I can now take that embed code and click where it says embed. Here's the embed code, Control V paste. And then look, there's a preview of my chatbot button. And then I can click insert, and then you can move it wherever you want it to be on your Google site. That's the best way to have that embedded somewhere, since you can embed on Google Sites. The other thing, what I did here is I embedded it in a different way. This, I think, is more user-friendly for kids, because kids tend to overlook that little circle on the bottom of the website. But they see this nice big lettering down here. I'm very clear about it in the instructions. I give them a screenshot. This is where you can find a hint if you need it. And when you're creating your chatbot, if you decide that that's what you want to do, it's an iframe. So you can go into that iframe, same thing. You can personalize it. There's the embed code right there, same story. You just go back, you go into your Google site, and then Control V paste the embed code, and there it is. It's loading. So there it is, and that actually previews the questions too for the students. Now,
if you want the if you want the pop-up one, does it matter where you embed it in the Google site?
Doesn't matter. You can embed it anywhere. But the thing is, and I've tried to experiment with, making it, easy to find. You can't resize it here. You can resize it in Phoebe. So if you're in Phoebe and you're using the chat pop-up, you just have to kind of examine the code a little bit. You see how this is 30 pixels and 30 pixels, so you can play with the size of it. You can even play with the size of it here.
Okay.
And it will, but I found it's, you could put it here in the middle of the page if you want. You could do whatever you want with it, whatever works for your, for your students and your situation. So that's how you create a chatbot. And the email will come into you anytime you want to make changes, like you want to edit the questions, if you want to edit the feedback that the students are getting, you can edit it right through your email, because it will give you a link to edit your chatbot. In my experience with it, the most effective use of this is using multiple choice questions in the Google Forms. And I'm going to show you why. Up here in the responses, okay, this is the one that we shared out on the banner, the click here to learn what it is. So some people actually decided to click on that and figure out what a chatbot is. So my questions were, what's a chatbot? How can I use chatbots to help my students? And how can I use chatbots to improve my teaching? So the first question people had was, what is a chatbot? And so I can see 81% of the people who opened the Phoebe chatbot wanted to know that question first. And then a small percentage started right off with, how can I use this to improve my teaching? And how can I use this to help my students? The second question they asked most frequently was, how can chatbots help my students? And the second question the rest of them wanted to know was, what's a chatbot? And then finally, how can chatbots improve my teaching? So it's really good data, especially if you are trying to figure out, okay, what do I need to reteach? What do I need to revisit? Where were my students stuck? how many of them needed a hint on this question or that question. You can definitely break it down. So when you're creating your Google form and you're generating the questions for the chatbot, you can be thinking about, which questions are going to be tough on the homework, or what do you think these kids are going to be reviewing more? And then you can go in on the response side and you can see the most frequently asked question, and that can help kind of guide what you need to reteach maybe, or what you need to review with the kids, things like that. Or maybe nobody asked a question on something that you thought was tough, so you put that in there, and that can help you too.
This is awesome. I'm really, I didn't know what a chatbot was, so this is valuable. Like, you could really take this in all different directions.
Yeah. I think the first thing was for me learning how to actually use it to engage the kids, because when you give them that homework and we are asynchronous and, they can't always kind of tap your shoulder and find out, the first thing we want to do is empower these learners. So you want to give them the tools they need to be able to help themselves. So it really does kind of support that on the student side. They don't know that you can monitor the number of times they're asking those questions. So it's a really nice way too of making sure that these kids are feeling safe in asking their questions, or getting that follow-up information. And it's a great way to embed some of that video teaching, some of that stuff that we've been kind of recording just organically through this whole remote process.
And it looks like I'm reading some of the stuff in the chat here, and it looks like there's a few people here who are definitely willing to try this for their colleagues as well. I guess they're tired of answering, did you reboot the computer? Right?
Yes.
Is your browser updated? That type of thing. I won't single them out. You can read through the chat, but I can see they're ready to experiment tomorrow morning already on this. So that's actually really cool too. And and it does give that sensation of like, you're actually like, wow, we can actually do this as a district. Wow, the person that I'm doing this, like I can actually talk to somebody and like the computer spits back at me. It kind of has that like more professional kind of quality, instead of always having to like draft an email. How are you? How was your weekend? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
To ask the one question that you really want to ask. So.
Right. And that, even professionally, you could say, okay, as the teacher on special assignment, or you're the tech coach. Okay, what can I offer you in our next training? What do you need help with? Google Sheets, Google Forms, Google Site, whatever it is, and you can give them that choice. And again, that gives you, it's like a survey.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. It reminds me of a survey.
It's like more fun than a survey for some reason now.
Yeah.
You're getting like that immediate feedback. There's no waiting to see even what your response is. So I think the immediacy of it is what people like about chatbots. You don't have to sit around and wait for somebody to get back to you. You know right away exactly what you should do next, or where you should go. Meredith, I've got a tough question for you. I don't know if you know the answer. Are you
Okay.
ready? Do it works with like a screen reader at all, or any sort of like ADA compliancy sort of things? I know we've had some accessible people at GEG before, so that always is at the top of my mind, and that's what I was thinking about when we were talking about it.
I honestly have no idea.
We'll have to try it out and see how.
Yeah.
Do a little experiment.
Yeah, let me know. That's a good question.
Sure.
The kids too, like it can actually, you can use it to promote collaboration with your students too, because the questions only come up once. So you noticed from the chatbot that I created, I copied the question 3 times to prepare for this presentation. But if I had only put it in there once, they would only have the opportunity to have that question answered just the first time they click on it. Then they would have had to refresh and do it again. So what I do with my students is I will put the question in there once. I'll put them in a breakout room and say, you have to collaborate. You have to work together. And if you need a hint on a question, you each get to use the hand one time, because then you're done. They're forced to not be able to use it again. So they have to, it really does encourage them to collaborate.
And also one other question here: when you sign in, right, do you actually create an account, or does it give you the option to do like a single sign in, like sign in with Google or sign in with Facebook or any
There's
of that
no
when you first set up
sign-in.
the account?
There's
Okay.
no sign in. It's just Fobi.io, and then you paste the link to your Google form there.
Okay, so and then it just sends it to your email, but then everything is saved by whatever you give it, and then you can go back and edit that way.
The actual chatbot is linked to your Google form, so you'll get in your Google Drive where you keep your responses for that Google form. That's automatically done for you.
Okay.
They take your email so that they can send you a link in case you need to edit your chatbot.
Got it. Okay. All right. Great. Thank you for that. Thank you
So
for
there's
that.
really no limits on like how many you can create. That was another question. Is there like an unlimited per month? There's really no limits because you're not even creating an account or anything. So they're not tracking that.
Right.
Right. And everything's
Also
being
not-
housed on it's being housed on your drive or your district's
Right.
drive too. So it's not
Right.
even taking them storage space, which is cool.
That's
From
cool.
on their end, yeah.
Maybe
Yeah,
we can create a GEG chatbot.
Chatbot. I said to Kim in the green room, if we actually have a green room, that this might be how we just start communicating with each other. Just make chatbots to each other, and then you never have to talk to anybody again. So
I don't know.
Oh, that would be sad. We like hanging out together with
yes,
people.
I wasn't making a judgment. I was just saying there may be one or two people out in the world that can do this pandemic thing for another 50 years and just want to set up a chat bot and be done with it. So to each their own. So that's why I was just saying, but
So
that is, that's cool.
To loop back, we got.
Yeah.
I just saw something on their website. It's not. It just says that it supports all mobile tablets and PCs as well as all the latest browsers. That's all it says about like what they support. So it doesn't say anything about your readers, Kara. And then Jamie has a good question here as well. She asked, can emojis be used? I guess, right? Would you be able? I mean, because you can put that in a form.
Let's try it out. Let's find out. Here, I'll share my screen and we'll learn together. Let's see if it's something that can happen.
Yeah. See, Jamie wants to use hieroglyphics in her Google form.
She wants
to in her chat.
All right. So I guess I have to let me get emoji copy. How about that? Okay, let's copy an emoji. Okay, and we'll put it in here. And let's make a chat bot. Copy. Paste. Oh, it's because I used an old form. All right, we got to make another one. Let's do that. Okay, forms.new.
Hi, Jamie's question, so we can see the screen.
Can we use an emoji?
Like she's asking about putting the emoji in the answer.
Let's see. Well, oops, control. Let's try that again. I'll find out. I want to know if it will even translate in the question too. That's a great idea though, if you've got.
Yeah, because she's saying like choose the emoji based on their answer. It goes to a video link so they don't have to read a lot of text. That's what she's thinking. So
I'm
kind
gonna
of like a picture chat box, like an emoji chat box.
Okay. Here we go. We're gonna try it.
This one's for you, Jamie.
I guess, wait, to create a new bot for this form. Let's try that again. Copy. Maybe it doesn't understand it. Let's see. Control V, paste, make my bot. No.
Put the emoji in, go back to the form. The Google form.
Okay.
If you go back to the Google form and you take out the emoji, what is your name? And put it in, just put an emoji in as a choice, a multiple choice.
Okay.
No, but we're learning something together, Jan. That's all. This is what we do.
No, it doesn't look like it's going to give you that option. But now let's see if I can add it. Now that I've got the chat bot open, maybe we can add it after the fact.
And this is all good to know now too, while we're all on this call and it's, being broadcasted that this way, when everybody gets this question after they mention chatbots, then we all know how to set up the chatbot with the right answer for whether you can use emojis or not.
Well, we can make a chatbot just to see if people can do the chatbot emoji.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, Grace. Pictures as choices.
Yeah, great. It's good for younger kids too, and great way to. Yeah. All right, let's see. Let's create my bot. Oh, I got to put my email address in there. Create my bot.
Because I know, right, some of these bots, right, like they have like the little smiley faces, right? You can click on, how you're feeling that day or something like that. I think that's kind of also what Grace might be referring to. So
yeah, it looks like so you can click share, try your bot, and it won't let me. That's a bummer. That's too bad. But I also did, let's edit the bot. Let's see what we could do to, maybe we can, nope, it's not letting me. As soon as you put an emoji in there, it doesn't like it.
Huh.
So there we go.
Well, but that's all right though, Meredith, because that gives you some stuff to upvote now with Phoebe, right? Because that was, since I know you had a couple of you probably have a couple of great suggestions using this, right? That's one of those things that will, I'm sure you're going to shoot out there as soon as the show is over. You may not beat Jamie to it, but you may beat the rest of us to it in terms of the emoji suggestion. So,
yes.
Which is cool.
I mean, you could still do the colon and the parenthesis, you could do old school emojis.
Right, exactly.
I was thinking ASCII code stuff. That's really old. No, this was great. I learned a lot. I mean, I didn't know what it was, and now I feel like at least I could have a conversation about it. So thank you for being on and showcasing that topic. That was awesome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm glad it was helpful.
It was nice and simple.
Yep, and it looks like a lot of fun too. And I know the best way for me to learn is to just experiment in my own personal life too. So now I'm just going to antagonize people by making chatbots for them and having them in
what's for dinner.
Right, exactly. I'm sure that will go over well. I'm sure that will go over very well. There's only be one answer in the chatbot. It's going to be, well, what are you cooking? That will be the answer to that question, and then I'll have the answer. So. It'll be great.
Let me tell you a little secret, right? I'm always on mobile doing my banking, and what always comes up is that stupid Erica from Bank of America, that chatbot. And I'm always moving her over because she gets in my way. She's in my face all the time. So here is one last question. When you create your chatbot, is it always in the same place? or does it like come into your face, you know, in the middle of your
The 3 different ways that you can use it. The one is to copy the direct link, like what I did on the Google slide for tonight's presentation, and that way you could hyperlink images. So if you have younger kids, that would be an example, like click the big question mark if you need a hint. Or you could use the iframe, and if that's the case, then it will stay, like I showed you on my student's website, it will stay there on the bottom, or it will be the little circle on the bottom right, wherever you want to put that little chat bubble circle.
Okay, good. I know you went through it, but now I'm thinking about it like as a user and how like they just pop up like, you know, all the time, and it's move away. If I need help, I'll click on you, you know? So,
Yeah, I'm curious too to find out if there's another website like Phoebe that you can generate a chatbot where you can put live links or you can put emojis and things like that. So it might be a nice little investigation to try and see if there's a even more user-friendly.
maybe it's, you know, like sometimes things are just, they're good when they're simple, like, you know, and then when you start adding functionality to it, then it starts getting complicated. Sometimes less is best. That's my opinion. Like for me, this is easy to follow and create very quickly. The interface is overwhelming, so I think that, in my opinion, it's the best. Like it's just a nice, clean interface workflow to create a quick chatbot, you know. But maybe find something later on. We can have a follow-up episode or event.
Yeah, we'll find out.
We'll find out, you know.
Yeah, it's nice to be connected to Google Forms too. So anybody who has access to Google Forms in their district can easily put it together and test it out with their students or their staff and see how it goes. So it's nice that it's pretty easily accessible if you're a Google for Education district too. So of course we like that. You know, some of the more complicated ones out there might have a high cost associated with them and things like that. So keeps it free and easily accessible for everyone.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. Someone, I don't know who it is.
It might be me. I'll mute myself.
No, you're good. You're good. But yeah, I mean, does anybody have any other questions or comments for Meredith? Or Renee says she can't wait to try it out. I'm right there with you, Renee.
Yeah.
+1.
It looks like a lot of people you know, have their questions and stuff in the chat, and you know, and we looks like we've answered a lot of them.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of different users in there, so they'll get to try it in different ways as well. So we should get some good feedback. No pun intended.
Definitely give us feedback. You know, let's maybe regroup on this later on at another time after people try it out, and then we can kind of compare and see, you know, what you created and how you use it in the classroom versus somebody else.
Great. Well, thanks again for having me.
No, thank you for being on. It was great having you on tonight. Thank you, Meredith.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, Meredith. And thank you everybody for joining us as well. Taking time out of your busy schedules. So thank you for that too.
Thank you.
Okay, guys.
Stay tuned for our next March event. Will be a Twitter chat. When is it?
It is, I believe it is March 16th, 7:30 Eastern time.
Okay. And
Just in case we have any.
St. Patrick's Day, Ted.
That's why it's not the day after St. Patrick's Day, Kara. Just to make sure it goes off without a hitch.
Listen, I'll be asleep at 7 o'clock, so it won't bother me at all.
Perfect.
8 o'clock, maybe, if I'm looking.
Yeah.
Have the after party, the Learn with Google after party on February 17th.
Yeah, that's true too. We have.
I'm looking at my calendar above my desk because I can't keep anything straight. I'm pretty sure it's at 7 p.m. 7
Yeah,
p.m. Oh yeah, Jamie commented that it's at 7 p.m.
Jamie's got that in there.
We've got about 20 people signed up for that so far, so that should be really exciting. There was they're going to be talking about all their new releases for Meet and Classroom and their new roadmap thing, so it's going to be awesome. So stop by if you can. Looking forward to seeing everybody again just next week, right?
That's it. Next week.
That's it, next week. Cool.
All right, everyone. Until then, have a great evening. Thanks for tuning in. Talk to you soon.
Bye. Take
Night,
care, guys.
everybody.
Bye.